What's up, guys? You're listening to the Colorado Cars and Coffee podcast with me, John, Steve, Terry, Alex, Hayden, and Dan.
Got a whole bunch of us here. It's like I've said before, it's a true morning zoo.
All right. So let's just get into the events we have. Starting this weekend, we have the Sonic Tots and Tailpipes, September 11th, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at 2400 Colton Road, Superior, Colorado. It mainly it's on your typical cars that you probably see on the road. It has Porsche, Skyline R32, NSX, a Toyota 86, I guess, came at one of them. Um, our next event we have is Off the Street Drags at PPIR, which is September 12th, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then the Go Baby Go Build event, which is in Colorado Springs on September 12th. Big Wheels on the Farm Car Show September 11th. Wheat Ridge Lane at the Wheat Ridge Lanes from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Vehicle Vault has a espresso and exhaust event, which is from 9 a.m. to noon on September 12th. Then we got Cars and Coffee in Loveland on September 13th, starting at 8 a.m. at the Loveland Design Carpet One. We have the DOS Colorado Treffin 2020, September 12th at the Poncha Springs Visitor Center in Salida. Begins and ends cruise, which begins at 11 a.m. ish. And looks like lastly we have Motors and Mocha, which is September 12th at 8:30 a.m. It's at 12364 West Alameda Parkway in Lakewood.
Nice list.
Yeah, it's a good list for this weekend.
Quite a list, yeah, sure.
That Das Colorado Treffin, that's European cars, but I think they welcome all their makes as well. That's down in Salida.
All right.
How was um how was the tots and tailpipes back in Centennial, Steve?
Last weekend, last Friday, it was pretty good. There was quite a turnout. Um, I took the Honda Monkey. That was fun.
Oh, good, good,
I
good,
always get a
good.
lot of questions about that. It's my
Yeah,
retro little single cylinder small bike from Honda, 125 cc.
if you're not if you're not familiar with that, Honda, what, last year decided to come out with a version of their bike called the Grom, which is, yeah, single cylinder 125 cc, like it's a mini bike. I mean, it's a little tiny short thing. It looks like a kid's dirt bike almost, and they put some kind of more old school body work on it. And Steve decided he had to have one.
Yeah, the Grom's been out for about 3 or 4 years, but for the past 2 years they've had the monkey, and I saw it last year. It's like that's pretty cool. But then this year, right before COVID hit, I saw it they had released a blue one. Like, oh, okay, time to go buy. And then COVID hit, and we're all stuck at the house, and so I called up around a couple of the Honda dealers and found one in stock in blue, and went over and picked it up.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. It's
Not a very fast bike, but nice to tool around on the city roads, right?
Yeah, I've it's slow. I've gotten up to 57 miles per hour downhill, and
You don't want to do much
that's
more
about
than that on that, anyways.
Not something. No.
it feels pretty stable. I feel really comfortable on it. I avoid 225 and any major road. Try to take side roads if I can, and but it's a blast.
You gonna get the
Hey,
itch for a bigger bike since that one is so specialized?
um, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's there's not a big burning desire for a larger bike. Maybe Yamaha. I think has a TW 200, which is a little
That's
bit bigger.
barely larger.
It, just a little bit bigger, but
It's just
big old
you're
fat
making
tires.
really small steps up to an adult's bike here, Steve.
No, I've had adult bikes before, and it was fun just picking up this little thing.
But yeah, because I know but just getting back to the Sonic, I know it was a topic last week about moving around locations and going back to where we're comfortable. So you think we're gonna be they're gonna be excited to see everyone up in Superior?
Well, this is a new spot for us, and I
Okay.
will call this Sonic tomorrow saying, "Hey, we're expecting 20 to 30 cars. Are you okay with that?" To avoid what happened to the previous Sonic in Broomfield.
Right.
So this is not far away from that one. It's just a different one. We're going to try another one and also give them heads up. So try to learn from our experiences.
I think
Well,
that's
good.
the right way to approach it, anyways. Give everyone a heads up, let it know we're going to be there. Don't take them by
Yeah,
surprise, and
right.
let them know what's
We had
happening.
been at Centennial for so long that we just gotten used to they were
Right,
expecting us. So
right.
I was thinking the same thing for the one in Broomfield, and that wasn't the case.
It's a Sonic thing that they have a lot of. I mean, they have the old 50s playing sock hop kind of car shows too. So it seems to be kind of a thing that's around Sonics. So,
They've always kind of even organized them on their own as well.
right.
Because like the Sonic by in this area where I'm at, Littleton, Lakewood, they have like exactly what you're saying. They have hot rod nights and stuff like that. So it's just a little, you know, as Steve was saying, we're so used to Centennial. There's so many car events that are held at Centennial, not just the one that we would do. You had, Beamer and Burger Nights that's been going on for a very long time, etc. So it's just surprising that some of the other Sonics don't have never experienced anything like that, or had like little car group gatherings and stuff. But if that's what needs to be done to make sure that you guys can turn up and enjoy a somewhat impromptu car meet on a Friday night, then so be it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we plan to move these events around some. So right now it's Northwest Denver and then Southeast Denver, but we might try, west like Golden or somewhere. But we'll try and move them around a little bit.
And we definitely encourage you know our members to if you have a Sonic by you, and you're kind of far away from some of the places that we rotate to, just call your local Sonic. Let them know.
Yeah, that a good point. Good point, Terry. Um, Spencer, one of our admins for Southern Colorado Cars and Coffee, a new group we just kicked off. He just chatted me, "Hey, why can't we have a Sonic down here in Colorado Springs?" And I'm telling him, "Hey, Spencer, you just got to create one and show up." And so I'll walk him through that. We'll set up some events with Southern Colorado Cars and Coffee too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, good car community down in the Springs. I've bought every single one of my cars that I've gotten out here from the Springs. So I like that crowd.
I've bought two of my cars down in Castle
There you
Rock.
go.
Actually,
That's the
Southern.
place to buy
Yeah,
cars.
the Z4 and the GT350 down in Castle Rock.
What else is going on here? Do we have anything else on the Sonic?
No, let's move on.
I was just kind of wondering how it went last week and everything and what was going on for this week. Sounds like we got through it.
It was pretty cool to see a 59 Cadillac. That showed up a little bit later. Most folks had left, but it was kind of cool to see that.
Nice.
Yeah, off the streets drags coming up. Uh, Pretty cool event that Pikes Peak Raceway does out in Colorado.
Is that just a straight quarter mile or what? I'm not familiar with that.
I believe it is an eighth mile actually. I don't think it's a quarter mile course. I think it's the
They
shorter version.
probably just section
They cut
off
down their straight.
one of the straights. Yeah,
Yep.
nice.
Yep. Yeah, and it's kind of nice. It's more towards the evening, starting at 4 p.m. and going until 9. So
Oh,
it's
it's a good.
probably a
Yeah.
little warmer then. Maybe get the tires some stick, but
Hey, I'm used to being out there for track attack at
right,
first thing in the morning and then being there through the
baking in
hottest
the
part of
sun.
the day in the middle of summer. So yeah, can't be
Right,
too bad.
sundown sounds pretty nice out there. So that's a cool event to try to get to. And then Saturday, our crew is going to a Go Baby Go build event in Colorado Springs. This is a charity that we work with a ton. And Steve, I'll let you take away a little bit more info about that.
Yeah, sure. They Go Baby Go coordinators have invited our team, down to their facility in Colorado Springs. So we're heading down this Saturday. Alex, myself, and who's the third staff guy?
I wanted to do this, but I'm out of town.
But So I can't recall who the
A
third
few
guy
of
is.
us are going down.
But also we're inviting some CNC members down too. So Tara, John, and Chris are coming down with us. So a build team of 6. And what happens is that we build a ride-on car, like a battery-powered ride-on car for a toddler, and we put the car together. And then they come in, they help us with putting on some safety controls for that car, and then the parents and the child will arrive, and they'll present the car to them at that event. So it's pretty cool. It's something we've not done before, so we're really excited. Um, Normally, pre-COVID, there'd be several build teams of say 4 or 5, 6 different build teams building 6 or 7 different cars, presenting them to multiple kids. But because of the COVID environment, we're doing just one team and one car and one kid. So still, we're looking forward to it, and should be exciting to have that together. I'm looking forward to it. Yep.
You, Matt, and myself. Matt's the other one coming with.
Oh, Matt. Okay, great.
Sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited to get down there. Should be fun. Little early for my liking, but good causes, good causes.
Oh, definitely worth it.
It's not as early as Lafayette Cars and Coffee. So
True.
Yeah, and that's a hike for us Southern guys.
Yeah, when I lived in the Springs, that was like a whole coordinated event just to make it there on time. It was rough.
That's way too early.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have bothered if I was coming from the Springs.
You had to get a hotel room.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I have to be up by like 4.
Oh no. Not on a Saturday, dude.
that's
Yeah.
tough. That's tough on a weekend.
I know, especially if you've had a long Friday night. It's real bad.
Mm.
It's like going to the hill
I
climb.
honestly think that is a thing that is, I don't know, that is almost like an intention of having an early morning car meet, is to shake out the party people in a way. Not there's anything wrong with them, but
Well, if that's the case, it's extremely effective. So good on them.
it seems like it.
Definitely for the diehards.
We know that there's the night meet in quotes crowd, and then
Mhm.
there's the morning meets crowd. Not that we can't commingle. I certainly know a lot of night meters myself.
It's definitely a different atmosphere, though. I'll definitely say that.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like rec league basketball. The serious guys are getting up at like 4:30 in the morning and going to play Saturday mornings and weed out anybody that's not very serious about it.
Mhm.
Gonna get a bunch of hate for what's wrong? Oh, what's wrong with night cruises?
There's nothing.
They're
wrong.
great. We're not doing anything wrong.
Mhm.
Just not our focus. That's all.
Have we thought about including some of the other car club like owners, like guest featuring them or anything like that? Because obviously there's a lot of them, especially down in southern Colorado, and I know that they would like to get that started up.
Yeah, I mean, we have our group we're expanding with, the
Mhm.
Southern Colorado Cars and Coffee. Probably start off with that, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure we're down for some alliances if somebody's interested. Always.
Yeah, and I've been talking to Michaela with Wicked CC.
Oh,
So
cool.
I know that she does some CNCs. So trying to coordinate with just what her schedule is and how she puts those events together. So yeah, we're trying to work on expanding out the group down there in the south as best we can. We know it could be improved with the CNC scene down there.
I think Wicked's a good organization. Michaela seems like she really passionate, trying to get everything to work, and seems like a great leader.
Yep, definitely agree. So what's the next event? We got Big Wheels on the Farm car show. I don't know too much about that one. Has anyone attended that one?
Don't know. Couldn't tell you a thing about it.
Okay, it looks like it's this Friday, 4 to 7 p.m.
Wheat Ridge Lanes, but we're pretty familiar with Vehicle Vault.
Yeah, espresso and exhaust. This Saturday, 9 to noon.
Long standing cars and coffee type meet.
Yep, always second Saturday of the month. Looks like we got one up in Loveland on the 13th. That would be Sunday, right? There at Loveland Design
Yes.
Carpet One. Okay. And then Das Colorado Treffen down in
Mhm.
Salida. Sounds kind of cool for European cars, VWs, Audis, so on and so forth.
Hopefully, there's some older ones. Get to take a look at them.
What does Treffen mean? Anybody know?
Hang on a second.
Let's see what Google Translate says.
Research on the fly. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna guess cruise.
You know, I was in Europe for a couple years. I should know this, but I
You
don't.
should, man.
So it means cruising to Poland, if you're curious.
It just says meet to meet. So like I guess a treffen is like a meetup.
Okay, cool.
In Poland.
Technically, it's not
Specifically in Poland.
somebody in someone in some native German speaker would probably be annoyed by that because it is a verb. So a meetup is a noun, obviously. But
We
Well,
got to
they
be a
can-
little cautious about things going from Germany to Poland.
They
Yeah.
can write to us and complain. We'll
Yep. They
take it
can
under
write.
advisement.
None of us will care.
we'll see if we get any native German speaker listeners that care to write. That would be pretty cool.
And unfortunately, our topic list here of events is out of order, and that's my fault. But the last one we have is on September 12th, which is Saturday at 8:30. Motors of Mocha up in Lakewood. Haven't been to that one before either.
Yeah, we got a good list this weekend for sure.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad at all for the times that we're living in.
If anyone's interested in more details, definitely hit up the Facebook group, hit that events tab, and then our follow on Instagram as well. We'll always put up the weekend itinerary post and try to give out as much information as possible and direct everyone to where they can find this stuff.
So is next hot import nights? Where do we go from here?
Next Saturday, someone in this group is showing their car. Isn't that right?
Nope. Not a single person.
Take it away, Dan.
I mean, if you see a white WRX with a big wang, that's me. So try not to be too harsh.
What if we see multiple white WRXs
I
with
was
big
gonna
wings?
say.
Well, you know, it is Colorado. It is Colorado, and it will be in the spring, so that chances of that are extremely high.
You
So
have to
you're
try to
absolutely
find one to
correct.
park next to.
Yeah,
I
right.
have
Just
a
get
friend
enough-
that has a car by that description.
Really.
Shout out to Alice Stern, racing her white STI most weekends.
There you go. That plug right there.
The WRX section at HIN will be popular for sure.
So you'll be the only non-vaping Subaru owner at the event, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
That's how you find them, kids.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I'll be in the corner with no smoke, so just go over
I
there.
thought you were gonna say smoking a cigarette.
No.
And several of us from the CNC team will be down there doing interviews, taking some video footage and audio.
We have a bit of
podcast.
not a live podcast, but we're recording some stuff, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
we are.
Yeah.
That'll be exciting. Little taking our show to the streets.
So if you're listening and are showing at Hot Import Nights, let us know. We'll come by and try to give you a good interview.
Yeah, we're gonna try to organize some interviews and break down a couple builds and get some info on some cool stuff around there. Should be a good time.
I'm sure there's gonna be some interesting cars there.
So I think we've covered events. What do you guys want to talk about?
Are we gonna talk about that Jeep? Whew.
The new Grand Cherokee?
Yeah, it's a wagon.
The wagon.
The Wagoneer.
Yeah.
See, I haven't seen this at all, so I'm googling it right now.
I'm also pulling it up. It looks like a Ford Flex, a little bit higher.
2021 or 2022?
Oh, I would say look at the 2022.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even know
What
about
we know,
2022.
okay. Car and Driver article.
Mhm.
Kind of
Or
looks like a
Sam?
Range Rover.
Yeah.
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 It looks like a Range Rover and a Ford Flex had a baby.
Yeah.
Well, I think some of the bigger points of contention people have is it doesn't look like the old Wagoneer, and it doesn't look like it has the faux wood paneling and
Exactly.
the big grill, etc. I don't want to ruin it for them, but it's not 1970 anymore.
Oh, they really are doing wood paneling. I think that you don't. If they're selling so many SUVs that they're just throwing ideas against the wall and seeing what
Right.
sticks.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's a modern design, and they're going to look like almost everything else out there because it's almost a proven design and a proven shape. So, yeah, it's going to look like a Range Rover and it's going to look like this and that. I mean, that's just the nature of, the beast. So,
Yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. It's saying the dimensions will be similar to a wow, words. Chevy Tahoe and Suburban, and it's going to be competing with the Cadillac Escalade and Lincoln Navigator and some of the Mercedes and Range Rovers because the prices starts at 60,000 all the way up to 100,000. I'm assuming that's all the bells and whistles. That is some shock value.
but yeah, so it's definitely competing against its natural enemies. So, I
Well,
mean,
they have to do that. I think they're in some financial trouble because they're mainly applying towards off-roading crowd with the Wranglers, and there's not really much of a reason for current Wrangler owners to upgrade when it's basically the same.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought the new Wrangler was supposed to be really upgraded, but I'm just not. I don't live in that world of 4x4 in, so
Well, the new Bronco could be a kind of a death blow to their one little niche piece of market that Jeep's had for a long time too.
right.
Yeah, and that's a very valid point. I mean, what will that full impact of the new Bronco be? I mean, the hype and excitement on it was extreme. I mean, there was lots of positive towards that, and so then I also think just the missteps of Chevy production of the Blazer was not what some people expected.
oh, that was a joke.
It right, exactly. So, you kind of leave it with Ford. Do they really have any challengers or direct competition with their re-release of the Bronco that's really out there that can really compete against what they're offering?
I don't know. They still can't. They're still not taking away the one niche that Jeep has with the Wrangler, and that's a solid front axle. So if you're a real off roader, you
Right.
almost only have the one choice because
The
those
one
guys don't
option.
want independent front suspension.
Right.
Like
So,
I said, I don't have much to add about this. I don't live in that world. I'm just looking at this slightly Range Rover-y looking Jeep that seems to have
Range
grown.
Rover, Jeep, like
Yeah,
Ford.
the thing I saw with the Grand Wagoneer was it could cost up to 100K.
Yeah,
That's
that's
quite pricey.
That's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Is that going to be a twin of the Grand Cherokee, or what? What is
Yes,
the?
the Escalade's always kind of been in that price range, but I don't know why anybody would try to go compete with that.
I don't see anybody buying it for that price range. That's more at that rate. You might as well go Range Rover.
shit. I don't know. Oh, sorry. I don't know about y'all, but for that price, I'd rather just get a Trackhawk.
Yeah, exactly. There's not really a whole lot of those either, but it's
Maybe that's what they're thinking is going to be 100 grand.
Well,
Right.
the Escalade has like a name and a status for a while. The Escalade, like that's kind of its own brand almost at this point. I don't think announcing nobody's buying a Wagoneer to go rolling around in.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
But yeah. So what? So yeah. So basically, the Wagoneer is not an Escalade killer. It's just another option to dump a bunch of money into. But in reality, I don't think it's. I don't
And
think it's going to go anywhere.
it's another SUV. People will buy
Yeah.
it. Oh, they
Yeah.
will.
That's it. Exactly. That's why I'll stick to the Rav4 manual craziness I own, which is perfectly fine with me.
RAV4 manual rally car.
Rav4 manual rally car, baby. That thing takes dirt roads real well.
At what point do we see everybody else going the Ford route and just not going to make passenger cars anymore? It's just all trucks and SUVs, right? Ford's already gone that route at this point.
I mean,
exactly.
And you know it because you own one. Ford used 4 years ago had an enthusiast car at every price point. You
yeah,
start off with the Fiesta ST all the way up to the GT to the GT
500,
supercar,
the
right?
GT supercar. Yep.
So then I know this because I worked at a Ford dealer. They tried to sell a lot of them for you know, for a markup. They didn't sell that many, and then Ford said, "Oh, well, you guys didn't. Oh, well, nobody bought these." And now well, nobody likes cars, so we're just gonna sell our. And anybody from Europe will tell you like Ford does like small, front wheel drive like little hatches very well. Like that is a core competency of them. And Terry grew up in England. He'll
Yep.
tell you that they're massive over there.
XR3, XR4,
Free, yeah.
RX 1600. No, you guys. I mean, you guys were deprived of hot hatches in this
Oh
country.
yeah.
Deprived.
That's the sole reason I bought my Focus RS.
And I probably would have gotten one too had I been able. I mean, I was so surprised when they announced that they were going to sell that here. I'm like, oh, that's never been a thing here. That's just something that has been for Europe.
That was one of the things I enjoyed the most about in Europe is all the hot hatches you can get. They're everywhere. I'm like, this is amazing. Where you come to America and it's like you literally have to search under rocks to find it.
And there's more choices too. Even the companies that we get, like Volkswagen, like you can get the Polo over there. You can get there's Citroen, Seat. There's so many more choices.
Yeah. Peugeot.
What's that little VW one? The Up?
Renault.
Is that
Polo.
what it is?
Is
Yeah,
the
the
small,
Up.
and then the Up exclamation point.
Yeah.
That's smaller than the Polo. So yeah, you have that too.
The up exclamation point is hot garbage. I hate that thing so much.
Have you
How
driven
come?
one?
Why?
Yeah, I used it while I was in Italy, and in constant stop and go traffic, it was an absolute nightmare. I hated it so much.
Was it a manual?
Yeah, it was manual. Oh, everything in Europe's
Oh
manual.
my god!
Getting an
I want it,
getting an automatic in Europe is like it's hard. It's like impossible. Everything's manual. there.
guys. I would
Well,
kill for a
a
manual
lot
up
of them.
in the U.S. That sounds like hilarious fun.
Yeah, roundabouts are amazing. I will say that.
Qualify the point on automatics are hard to find in Europe. I mean, I grew up there,
Hmm
so automatics are there.
Yeah,
Oh,
but that was
yeah.
120
They are
years
Obviously
ago.
there. That was
But
120 years ago.
most of the cars will be manual because that's just the way it is.
The automatic
And
transmission hadn't been invented at that point, Terry.
you know, so they're there and they always will be.
The
You
roads
know,
are only big enough for horses and carriages, right?
well, I will challenge anybody to drive on the sea roads I drove on as a kid in England,
Mm.
where it's technically a two-way road, but you can kiss my ass, you can get two cars down that road.
Yeah, that's what it was like in Italy as well.
I drove them like crazy. It's just, and I'll take people back to England when I go, and I'll go down some of those country roads, and they are just scared to death. They're like, "Ooh, who has the right of way? We both do. Don't worry about
They
it."
also the other etiquette that they do over there that we don't over here is they cross the road lines as long as they can see ahead.
Yep. So it's one of those things, but yeah, definitely getting back on the point with Ford just moving to all like trucks and SUVs. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Hayden's point is pretty, kind of valid where, that decision to say, well, no one's buying these cars, but they're buying trucks and SUVs, so let's just focus on that. I don't know if that's going to backfire on them or it's just a business move to look at their whole market share, not just in the US, but worldwide, because they are a worldwide, company, and realize that, hey, we're selling a lot of, smaller two-door hatches in Europe, and we're not selling a lot here, but we sell more SUVs and trucks in this country, so we can cut our losses, secure the profit, secure the bottom line better if we dump the cars here because we're just not selling them. There is that consideration that they could have thought about. But I think it's kind of like a bad move because you're just limiting your own market within this country. That people that would traditionally buy like Ford sedans and hot hatches and little econo boxes now they're not going to be able to do that. I don't see people buying.
Well, I think Ford are just following the trends.
Yeah,
We are buying. Yeah, most of us are buying SUVs, and we are not buying hot hatches. I think they're just heading. The bean counters have gotten in and said, "Okay, time to cut the hatches and small
yeah,
cars and
There are much smarter people than us that are making those decisions.
move on to the moneymakers." Yeah.
I think
yeah.
they
Which is
recently changed their. They recently swapped out CEOs too. I think the guy who made the decision or was the CEO when they made the decision to stop producing cars is now out.
Mm.
And that's true. Decisions can be quickly reversed.
Well, I believe that the new CEO is actually, I believe he drag races a Mustang or something. I read a little bit about him. He is more on the performance driven side, which is really weird. I don't know if they have to wait longer till he's allowed to make changes. I'm not sure on that one.
Well, he might just be waiting so he doesn't have shock value. Like get in there and
Right.
just recreate the wheel and throw
Yeah.
everything off.
What I do think is nice about companies rotating out of the sportier stuff, like I think like Ford is obviously one. I think BMWs have kind of gotten there too, where they're focused more on kind of bigger cars with higher power and stuff, and not necessarily something that's just made for a driving experience. And you're seeing Hyundai with their N line and Toyota start to step up, because Toyota hasn't made a sports car in decades, but
Yeah.
they started out with the FRS and now to the Supra. There's rumors of the MR2. There's going to be a second generation of FRS that's supposed to be, or GT86, whatever they're going to call it, that's supposed to be turbocharged. So seems like more companies are coming in to fill that void.
Junior, if you're listening to this podcast, which I'm sure you are, bring back the Ford sedan and Ford coupes. We
Yeah.
want them. Bring them back.
Yeah, I know me personally, I have no interest in buying any SUVs. I'm going to stick with my Focus RS until they come out with something like that.
John, do you also have a Focus RS?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I didn't even know.
Wow. Two of the
We're,
team.
we're going to have
Do
to
you
make another podcast.
Oh,
You
here we
guys
go.
both like the you guys both like the driving position in that car, or did it take some getting used to?
I love it.
Yeah, I like it too. I have no problem with it. I mean, I'm like 6 feet 4 inches, pretty big guy. And I mean, I think it's comfortable. I have no real problem with it. I mean, my knee's kind of close to,
Yeah,
um,
your knees go up
Ford.
in
yeah,
that.
Yep.
it's a little close to it. But I mean, aside from that, the day-to-day driving, it's not that bad.
I think there was a lot of complaints about the seating position from guys overseas. They had like a bucket seat option that were not the like bolstered plush seats that we got in the US. Those
Okay.
bucket seats sat higher on the rails for some reason. So guys like us that were, 6'2" and 6'4" like you, John, they were
Yeah.
having some like seating position issues. But the seats we
Um,
got in the US, I think, were um, made for US guys like us.
right.
So what you're
Yeah.
saying is I need to get a Euro version so I feel taller. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
So I can see over the steering wheel.
Right.
Yeah,
Maybe we should. Are we moving into talking about the Bronco?
The juice is loose. Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it.
Talked
All
about it
right.
a little bit, I guess.
I'm
But yeah, I
excited
don't know.
for it.
Cool looking thing. Highly anticipated. Big following. Big resto mod community. So yeah, should be a good thing for them. Hopefully.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, I was looking through some of it, and there's a lot of customizable options. Like a lot of the rivets have like Bronco imprinted in them, and they have like a bar that goes across the top where you can put a GoPro camera and everything. They seem to have a lot of options. I don't know if it's kind of the way they're trying to go. They come up with a platform, and then you can buy the extra stuff like extra fenders and stuff like that. Is what they seem to be going towards.
Do you think they'll have to release the 3.5 EcoBoost in that eventually? Will the people demand it? Because right now the 2.7 EcoBoost is the top of the line engine, right? It's either that or a
four
two three.
cylinders. What's in the
Four cylinder.
RS?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and the 2.7 is a
V6
V6.
Hold on.
would have
Oh,
been in the Flex.
so
I don't know. I never when I've heard that sorry, we're all over the place. I was just gonna say when I've heard that engine with like exhausts and stuff on it, not that Jeeps sound with
I
exhaust
think
sound much better,
they've
but
had a
I was
problem with
not
that with the
into it.
Raptors. I know the 2013 Raptors, they like that V8 sound, And then when he came out with the recent Raptors, where they went with the V6 and the Echo Boost, they didn't like that sound, but they liked the performance. So it was kind of a hard thing.
I mean,
I
I think that's the reality of so many cars nowadays, though. I mean, BMW, we got rid of the inline six, we got rid of the V8, and the M3. Everyone complains about the turbocharged noise now. Formula One, for God's sakes, we had some of the greatest sounding cars in the world, and then they went to turbo engines that don't honestly sound like much. So,
Yeah, they're just not. You're just not going to get that performance and emissions out of a naturally aspirated engine these days. That's the problem.
Right. I doubt if
Sorry, Steve. I didn't mean
the
to talk over you.
no, I doubt the exhaust is, or the sound is a concern for the regular Bronco buyer compared to us with looking at Porsches and how they
to
sound.
backtrack and talk about the engine. The 2-door is actually a 2.3 liter EcoBoost, and the 4-door is a 2.7.
Yeah, so that's what I thought.
how much power are they making in the two door?
Let's see. Horsepower 270 in the 2-door and 310. And I'm assuming that's in optimal conditions as well.
Yeah, they're those 2.3 Eco Booster.
Ours make
300,
350 in the
give or take.
RS.
Right?
John and I,
Yeah.
but they also pop a lot.
Yeah, I think another thing Alex probably already knows about, but Ford even has like a little amplifier in the back portion that's supposed to kind of like create engine sounds. I don't know if that's a format they're gonna bring in or.
I think they do it in the Mustang even. I mean, I think
Oh,
Ford's
wow.
doing that with basically
Probably.
everything nowadays. I
Yeah.
did at some point go back and unplug that in the car, and
Right.
it's night and day. I actually plugged it back in. I know it's fake, but
All right.
it's better than what it sounded like with all the sound deadening.
Yeah, that's a pretty common thing to have the sound engineers tune that sound now because the turbos don't sound that great. It's just even my GT350 had sound piped in. But one thing I want to talk about that was really cool with Ford was all the different models that they come out with. You got the base, which is highly customizable, but you've also got Big Bend, Black Diamond, Outer Banks, Badlands, Wild Track, and First Edition, which all the reservations are full for that one. But it was kind of cool seeing all the different models that they had coming out right off the bat. That was smart.
They are really going nuts with the marketing on this. Have you guys heard about and it kind of hurts. It hurts me to say it, but the off rodeo. They're doing this event where they're letting if you like have a Bronco. Now I gotta look. Now I gotta actually do some googling because I'm off in the weeds. But no, they're doing this thing to like test your Bronco called the off rodeo, and I just don't
People
know
that
who
are
comes
smarter
up
than
with
we
these
are.
things.
Sure as hell making more money.
I would hope that I'm
I'm
above
not.
making a pun
Yeah,
like
nope.
that.
We were sitting here making dad jokes earlier.
Bronco buyers will get. Oh, it's an off-road driving. It's an off-road driving school. It's a
Sounds
free
cool.
admission to an off-road driving.
Oh, there you go.
I guess it's a
Oh,
cool. I
kind of
guess
like
Right.
kind of like a track day if you buy a
The Bronco Day.
performance car.
yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, same idea.
Yeah, I mean, talk about
Just like the
companies
Range
making
Yeah,
Rover.
very cool.
complete opposite hype. Going from the Wagoneer to the Bronco now. It's one company is doing a considerably better job with creating a product that people are pretty stoked about.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Jeeps will always have their following, especially as long as they make the Wrangler with a solid front axle. They've have no competition. Just older, SUVs. So
Well, since we started doing podcasts, I started trying to listen to more podcasts, and there is one about the Ford. It's called "Bring Back Bronco," or about the Ford Bronco, and you can find it at broncopodcast.ford.com. So I've been listening to it. It's been episodic, so I think they have 3 or 4 episodes out, and then they release them every so often.
From Ford.
oh, so it's an official. Oh, okay. It's an official
From
Wow.
Ford, yeah.
podcast for the
Yeah,
Bronco.
from Ford. Kind of
Oh,
talks about the history of Ford, where they started. It does talk about the OJ episode, and I think the year after OJ's episode, they
Wow.
stopped selling Broncos after
yeah, they did.
'96 or
Yeah.
whatever. The year after they were done was at the end of the model line.
I watched a like a 15-20 minute little short CNBC documentary on it. Kind of did a brief history of it and everything. It's interesting stuff, and they certainly have a huge following, and they've gotten some of the coolest resto mods on earth done by guys like Jonathan Ward at Icon 4x4. I mean, that's kind of one of his two specialties. The other being the Toyota FJ40.
I am really excited about this Bronco. I could see myself in one if I could talk the boss into it, but they are cool.
John, I don't know if you heard about this at all, but I actually heard quite a few people in the RS clubs that were talking about selling their RS for Bronco, and I thought there wasn't going to be any crossover there, but guys
Yeah.
are looking at it. It seems.
Yeah, I looked at it. I remember only seeing like a cube, but I don't know. I didn't really read a whole lot into it. But you said you saw a lot of people that wanted to get one, or
Yeah, I just immediately I thought, I mean, that's a cool car, but I don't think anybody that's in a little hot hatch right now is going to be looking at that. But it seems
yeah.
like quite a few people are looking
Huh.
to trade in the RS for one of those.
Well, isn't the MSRP on the RS like 40K or something like that? Or is it
Yeah.
a little bit? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting change though to go from a little performance hatchback up to an SUV. Yeah, I've personally gone from a Mitsubishi Evolution to a Ford Raptor, and I shortly went from that Ford Raptor to a Focus RS. So I mean,
You went the opposite way.
yeah, I mean, it kind of looks cool and everything. And you're thinking, oh yeah, I'll go off roading, and I can always use a truck bed and everything. And then it's like, Jesus, needs a turbo. This is too big, and
It's
yeah.
enormous.
I mean, it's probably one of those things where they kind of look at like something that like a Lamborghini coming down the street or something like, oh, that's really cool. I want to get that, but then they get it and then they might not work out for them.
It's a totally different type of vehicle. I mean,
Right,
it's not even
right.
close to trying to do the same thing. So who knows? People's circumstances change. They get tired of one kind of car, they want to try another. I used to see it selling cars all the time. They're like, oh, I don't know if I want a
Yeah.
truck or a car. And I'm like, well, what are you trying to do with this thing? Like, how do you use how are you going to use this car? Well, I don't know. So yeah, some people just don't.
So if you guys were to build one out, would you
Two-door.
go
Absolutely.
2-door, 4-door? What kind of
Ooh, let me look at the models.
model would you go for? What do you think?
Yeah, it has to be.
Two-door is
Yeah.
two-door is the classic, but
Same here.
I think I would do 2-door for as well. I was eyeing
yeah, it
the
looks way more old
Outer
school.
Banks model.
It looks way more like an old Bronco. Here's my question with this thing, because almost always retro future doesn't age that well. Like they just kind of end up being these weird things a few years later. So is this gonna end
The
up
Dodge
with the same
Challenger's
thing?
been holding
Because
up pretty well.
it is very retro future.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's one that's done good. But eventually the Mustang went that way and then kind of went
Yeah, I think
more
part of it
modern.
was
So
What about the FJ Cruiser?
FJ Cruiser was another one. Yeah.
Oh, so I'm looking at some of the packages. There's a Sasquatch package, which includes 35-inch tires with 17-inch beadlock capable wheels, front and rear locking differentials, um, Bilstein position sensitive monotube shocks, and a 4.7 final drive ratio, and high clearance fender flares.
oh, nice.
That's
Yeah.
that's their
Yeah.
one aimed squarely at the Rubicon though.
It seems to be the must-have package that a lot of folks are talking about.
Sasquatch, that's right.
What does that start
Sasquatch.
at?
They have
It's just an additional feature. Didn't even say how much it costs. But I'm looking at the Big Bend, and it is a 7-speed manual transmission. Yep,
Really?
Oh yeah, granny gear.
Oh.
Right.
that would be
Yeah.
fun.
they're actually offering
Yep.
a manual with this. Wonder how that 7-speed is. Because they've never had a 7-speed manual, so what's
I
that going to
think
be
the
like?
manual's
Hmm.
only with the 4-cylinder version.
Okay,
I-
probably.
I don't think for the upper version it's only automatic. And there's some
I really wonder
consternation
what
over that.
that's gonna be like, because the ones on the 6 speeds on the Mustang GTs, I think they've recently recalled, like the what are they called? MT something or another. They're supposedly not good. And you had the right one. You had the one that they sold with a Tremec because
Yeah,
you
right.
have to go up to GT350 to get the Tremec, whereas Chevy will sell you a Camaro SS with it.
And
so.
Steve, to answer you, yeah, you're correct. So the 2-door, you can have the 7-speed or the 10-speed automatic, and the 4-door, you have to have the 10-speed.
I don't. I'm not an off-roading guy either. We have a couple guys in the group. We should ask them what's a turbo motor like when you're off-roading? If you're trying to like climb or something, that doesn't the little bit of lag and the
Ooh,
little bit
yeah.
of I don't feel like that's beneficial.
Well, with how small the turbos are, it's probably negligible, I would think. But yeah, not an off-roader either. So curious about that as well.
We need Aaron in here.
What you need to put is
That's right.
Even
Yeah.
going from
Where
a
you at? Where you
a
at?
naturally
Aaron?
aspirated M3 to the Focus RS, I can still feel the throttle response. I'm sure that's annoying for off-roaders. That's
yeah, a lot of
interesting.
lurching would happen.
Well, I don't think anybody's trying to build a rock crawler.
I mean,
of
there's
these
someone
things. I think
Yeah.
they're probably
in Texas
doing
that's
more
going to
light
strip this
stuff,
and make
but
this into
yeah,
a
who
ridiculous
knows?
rock crawler. It's going to happen.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
I'll definitely
probably.
watch the video.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Someone probably in Texas.
They'll put an
Oh
LS
my
in it just to
God.
piss everybody off, though.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, do you guys want to move on and talk about the Maserati or the Taycan long roof?
I don't know about that Maserati, but that Taycan, that wagon Taycan looks sick, and I've been hoping that they were going to do it ever since they've come out with the Taycan itself.
Yeah, come to daddy is what I say about that one.
Yeah, that's a
Wow.
dad. That is
Wow.
a dad wagon right there, Steve.
For sure.
Yeah, you're going to be doing a lot of shopping here in the near future.
Window shopping, pretty much.
Yeah, we put
Yeah,
it in
we'll
the
see.
Cars and Coffee group on Facebook, and it got some pretty mixed reviews. I think it's fairly polarizing.
Who is
Can we ban them?
talking badly about this thing? It's a Porsche
Should we
wagon.
ban
Give
those
me a
guys
break.
that don't like the long roof? I mean, just preemptively, they're not car guys or gals. It's time for them to go.
They're the
I'm
Tesla. You know
kidding.
what? You know what they are? They're the Tesla fanboys. That's
Oh,
who's talking crap.
that's another whole nother
There's
podcast right
a
there.
section of people that just don't appreciate the shooting brakes, and I don't think I'll ever understand them because I love them. The CTSV wagon's been like my ultimate favorite
They
for a
must
long
be. I
time.
think they grew up with
Yeah, I like
wagons.
that too.
See, by the time I was growing up, small SUVs were already a thing. So the wagons were already supremely uncool. So nobody's parents of my generation, for the most part, had wagons. So I don't know. That's why I think a lot of us think that they're cool, but our parents grew up with wagons. So that's a whole other thing.
I learned to drive on a very uncool wagon. It
I
was
learned to
a
drive on a
Dodge Aries
Subaru
K car.
Outback wagon, the LL Bean edition.
Well, that's a wagon that people have. But I mean like the big American.
I learned how to
ones,
drive on a Datsun Bluebird station wagon in England, also a Ford Cortina station wagon, a burnt orange Mercedes 200 TDA diesel station wagon. My father had station wagons. And what was the other god awful ones?
That was in the period that I'm referring to, where station wagons were still big in the
Yeah.
U.S. You just had a
And
completely
when
different
I
selection
actually
of
came
cars.
back here, my brother had that big Oldsmobile station wagon, with the side seat and the back that was rear facing, so you put the children you hated in there. If you're rear, if you got so if rear ended they were killed.
Yes. All the ones that got car
I
sick.
loved
What was
those.
that, Hayden?
If they get car sick, they
Right.
they
Or
spew on the rear window,
yeah,
and it's
and
a show for
if they
whoever's
get
behind you.
rear ended, that's the two children you care least about, and everything's great. But that car was massive. I mean, I love a shooting brake. I love a wagon that's done right. And so yeah, I might understand why some people might hate Porsche, but I pity them on their bad decision making.
Absolutely.
It seems like there's been a resurgence of interest in wagons. The Audi
Yeah.
RS6 is coming to the U.S., right?
I mean, ever since Jalopnik kind of got on the wagon kick, and more people, and they started to write about some of the 80s like brown diesel Mercedes wagons and stuff. They kind of got a cult following, and now they're actually big with the enthusiast crowd. I'm looking at this thing, man.
No, it looks
Yeah,
great.
I think this thing looks awesome. It just looks. It's.
Mm.
It is the. It is. If you've seen the
Yep.
Panamera Sport
Much
Turismo,
meaner.
it is that like that whole that like wagon shape just copied onto the Taycan, and the Taycan is quite a bit smaller. It's like between like BMW 3 and 5 series size. So this, yeah, I'm loving
We
this.
were we were out for tacos the other day, and I saw a V70R and started taking pictures of it. My girlfriend was like, "What are you doing? It's a wagon." I was like, "No, this isn't just a wagon. It's a sweet wagon."
You're like, that's a sick
I mean,
wagon,
even
though.
when Jag released their XF Sporting Brake, I mean, there was one for sale out here, and I seriously thought about buying it.
Yeah, and those prices have dropped on those sporting those XFs. It's
No, well, it's a Jag.
yeah, because they weren't great
Yeah,
sellers.
yeah.
So
Terry's right.
prices
It's just
really came
Jaguar
down
problems.
on the lot.
But still, that was a very tempting. That was the like I should buy this and just get rid of the Rav4. Mm, No, I rarely drive the Rav anyway, so I wouldn't really be driving the shooting brake. But it was that tempting to get. So it's definitely a lot of wagon love
Well, those Jaguar wagons all-wheel drive. Is that
in
right?
that way. So yeah, it would have been a good little deal, but you know, but just looking at the Taycan, I mean, it is really beautiful, and I'm hoping this trend continues where we start seeing a more resurgence in a sporty wagon. And it would be really nice that we start seeing, some Mercedes AMG wagons crossover. And there's that rumor of, the M3, wagon and stuff. So all those things might happen. We might even see an M5 wagon. Be nice to see.
Would be nice, but when they have made that stuff, they have not
No,
given
no,
it to
for some
us
unknown reason, you
Americans.
are just forgotten.
And then some guy on the forums buys buys a 5 series
Yeah,
wagon
so that's
and
all
an
part.
M5 and then swaps all the
Yes,
bits, buys two cars to make one.
which I know somebody that actually
So
kind of did a swap like that, but not an M5 swap. That person supposedly owns a 5 Series wagon. Pity that he doesn't realize.
I would never
No,
know.
yeah, no
I
idea
have
who
no
that
idea who you're
person
talking
is.
about, Terry.
Yeah, you gonna wrap that
Well, I
podcast
think we
up?
should wrap this podcast up.
Just like you're gonna wrap that wagon up. So yeah,
But no, I do have a 2002 525i touring a BMW wagon that's getting the E46 M3 engine, the S54 swapped into, 6-speed swap, LST, bigger brakes. Uh, been a long
And
work
that's
in
all harder than
progress.
it's all a bit harder than it sounds, isn't it?
Yeah, we had no idea the challenges that would go with that project, but it's been challenging. Now we're down to the last parts of just fixing some
Been
bugs.
counting as project in terms of years.
Yeah, coming up on 2 years. 2 years now.
we have seen it. It is
I think so.
running. It
Yeah,
turned up at Lafayette Carson Coffee once, and it looks amazing.
and it looks great, and I can't wait to be behind the wheel.
I was just telling somebody the other day that I went with Steve to buy that car, and I have never been impressed more by a previous owner of a car than this guy that sold Steve that wagon. He was just this retired guy who was bored and doing preventative maintenance on that car. And he had the
Right.
most immaculate, one of the best looking garages I've ever seen.
He filled up the back of the wagon with a set of winter wheels and tires, and then another load of spare parts.
It was completely full of spare parts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, um, I am looking at this MC20 Maserati over here, and I don't know. I hadn't. It's the Alpha 4C Maserati version. Yeah, because
Hmm.
I'd heard about this.
Yep. Well, I think it looks good.
Wait a second. No, I may. I'm. Oh, is it the same? Is it the same body? Because it's a much big. It's much more powerful, but different engine.
It's mid-engine two-seater, carbon tub looks like. I think it's probably based around 4C bones. I'm not sure though.
I'm seeing 620 horsepower, 621 horsepower twin turbo V6.
Yeah, that's like a Julia
Well, that's a little.
quadrifoglio engine
Yeah, I guess
in
it
a
is.
4C, which sounds really exciting.
Yeah, if you could have that mid mounted, but yeah, I would hope that they made it slightly longer if they're putting that much power into it. I wouldn't want to drive a 4C with that much power.
Yeah.
It looks like a longer car too. It just looks like a longer wheelbase. It just, I mean, there just becomes diminishing returns when there's too much power in such a small car. But and then pricing
Oh, good.
reportedly
And
starting at 210,000.
it drops what $40,000 a month after it leaves the lot because it's the Maserati, right?
And they'll sell every last one of them.
I'll be sitting on the sidelines with cash waiting for my $20,000 MC20.
Yep.
We'll be in 5 years.
So no, I'm actually excited for it.
Speaking about new ones, have y'all looked at? I know we're a bunch of non-fanboys in here, but has anyone looked at the 2021 Ferrari Roma? I mean, 612 horsepower. I'm personally not a fan, but
Oh, this is the new GT car.
I haven't been
Okay.
excited for Ferrari since the 458. They've all been the same.
Something about this looks like I don't know. I'm trying to gather my thoughts about profile. The rear end really, the back half really looks like a Cayman. Like I'm like shockingly so.
I was thinking the rear 3/4 was really like SVRF
Almost
type
like Aston
kind
Martin.
of look to it.
I don't know. The new Ferraris have not been pretty. That new, not the 488, the successor to it, that thing that they just came out with, I think looks like a bit of a disaster. And I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out this.
it
This isn't
kind
bad
of
looking. I
looks
just
like
don't find it
the
pretty.
BMW 1 Series hatchback a little bit.
It's definitely more.
No, yeah. No, yeah.
Wow. That's a stretch.
Certain angles, yeah. I'm not saying it perfectly.
And then
but
certain angles of the front, the the headlight, certain angles of the front, the headlights look very like modern Volvo.
Well,
There's
it
just a lot
also
of stuff going on here.
well the
It is very
Roma. I
sculpted.
mean, I gotta say it takes a lot of styling cues from the Aston Martin as well.
Yeah, I was just
Ooh,
Yeah.
I was just gonna
seen a render
say
of a
if you
shooting
put
brake. I like that.
the Aston Martin 177 next to the Roma, I would
Right.
not be surprised to find out that it was the same designer. They look very similar.
Very, don't they? They really do.
Yeah, it's similar. But I mean, anything, and I mean, Ferrari V12 is always. Oh no, it's gonna be a V8 this one. They
No,
gotta offer the V12
no.
at some point.
You would hope, but
You would hope. That seems like the whole
yeah,
point of the
you're
front
right.
engine for. But I don't know. I guess you can still get the
F12.
you can still get the FF and the GTC for Lusso. So
Oh hell yeah, let's build our own Ferrari. No, I don't like spending my hard-earned money on Ferraris. So with my very successful businesses that I'm in, I will build a brand new Rav4. Money wisely. Thank you very much. Rav4, super fast.
I'm actually looking
Yes,
right
sir.
now at the 2021 Alfa Romeo GTV.
Oh, they need to make a convertible. I swear, make a convertible.
I think the GTV is dead in the water. That was you might have seen
Did
some
they? Okay.
early news about that, but
That's
I think they've killed that.
it was a bit of a coupe Julia
Mm.
kind
Yep.
of thing.
Yeah, 2-door.
20.
Could have been a decent idea, but I don't know. It's probably the amount of Julias that they're probably already selling. It doesn't really make sense to build something that's mostly like it, but not quite, and not just call it the Julia 2-door.
We should we move to wrap this up?
Sure.
Yep, good plan.
I guess we're wrapping.
John, you want to wrap us up?
That's it for us from the Colorado Cars and Coffee podcast.
Be back next week, and get out to some get out and
Yeah.
meet some car people this
Get
weekend.
out to the events, guys, and see what's out.
Good little list of events going on.
Be good, so that's not too bad. And I think
Yep. Check us out on our channels. We got all the channels. We got Instagram, Facebook group, Facebook page,
OnlyFans.
Twitter.
Yeah.
We're on most of the channels, so check us out.
That's
Uh-huh.
Dan exclusively.
Only
yeah.
coming soon.
Facebook.com/Colorado Cars and Coffee. Instagram is CO Cars and Coffee, all spelled out. And then our Twitter handle is the same, CO Cars and Coffee. So find us there.
definitely join us next week. I think we'll do a little bit of racing.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight.